What's up everyone? My name's Marta and welcome to episode 5 of the Subaru Forester Off-Road project. Today, we're installing the Snorkel. So in the last video I was talking about how I was having problems with a Hilux snorkel that I couldn't get to fit in the vehicle. So it's not so much that I couldn't get the snorkel to fit, it was more of a fact that it was just going to be a bit too much work, a bit more cutting, a bit more work with the plumbing. So what I ended up doing is I opted out for an NK Pajero snorkel instead. So I'll show you how I installed the NK Pajero snorkel on the Forester instead. So what I've gone and done is purchased myself another snorkel. So this snorkel here is from an NK Pajero. It's a proven snorkel I've seen run on many Subarus. Seen a lot of people on the forums, especially Foztrack, seen them, a lot of those guys running this snorkel. So the difference between this snorkel and the last snorkel is basically, when I fit this snorkel up, you can see this section is a lot longer and it fits quite nicely with the holes I've got here. So I'm going to have to do very little modification to the vehicle itself. So basically I'll drill the hole into the fender and then I can run my pipe straight through these factory holes here. So it's just going to be a much nicer fit when I go to fit this snorkel. So I'm going to put all the fenders back on and start from scratch to show you guys the process along the way. Okay, so now that we've come to installing the snorkel, the first thing I think I'm going to do is actually mount the snorkel itself, and I'll deal with all the airbox and the ducting later on. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'll probably tape up this area with a bit of masking tape so I can figure out where I want to put all my holes, and then we can start drilling and sort of placing everything. Okay, now that I've got my tape on the fender, what I'm going to do is get my Sharpie and get my snorkel. I'm going to just set it up about where I want it. Should be about there. And then get my Sharpie, just mark around the back of the snorkel. And now we know where the hole needs to be drilled. Yeah, right, now that we have our hole, what I'm going to try and do is find the centre of this hole. So it should be 75, which it is. Half of 75 is 37.5. So we'll find that right there. We'll do the same for the other side. And then we have the centre of our hole. So now we can grab our drill bit and start drilling. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to drill a little pilot hole here, so we can start with the hole saw. So first thing, always remember your safety glasses. And we'll get started with the drilling. So that little hole that I've just drilled there is I just used a 5mm bit, a bit smaller than what's on the hole saw itself. So that way we've got a nice small hole for us to start the drilling and make sure it's nice and accurate. The next thing, I've got a 86mm hole saw here that I'm going to use. Use that on low setting. And we can get started drilling this piece. And that's not what you want to do. Okay, so that initial hole has now been drilled for the snorkel to fit through. So as you can see here, that fits up quite nicely. Just resting up against the mirror at the moment. So the next thing we have to do, just at the back here, we have to figure out where all these holes go to attach it to the fender. So what I think I'm going to do is just attach all the bolts in there, and then I'll mark it out on the tape. Okay, now so this kit does come with a template for drilling your holes, which you can see here. Obviously, because it's designed for a Pajero, it's not quite going to fit the Forester, so I've put the little studs in the snorkel itself, and then what I'm going to do is trace around it with a pen and then drill it out that way, and hopefully it'll line up fairly good. So that's what I've done here. You see that little black mark there? That's going to be the first one. I'll drill that out and then test it, see how it goes. Okay, so what I've done is I've secured the very first nut onto the stud just on this end here. If you can have a look, I'll just put this back into place. As we come along here, there's quite a bit of a gap, so it's not actually sitting flush to the fender. Obviously it's not designed for the vehicle. So what we can actually do is get a heat gun. I'm just going to apply the heat gun to this end, because this end here is secured. We should be able to just very gently ease it up against the fender so it's sitting nice and flush. Right, so before I started this installation I already had the fender off, so I pretty much just had it sitting there for when I was doing this mock-up, so it's easy to remove and everything. So at this stage what I've done is basically I marked out the holes one at a time, then I drill it off and then just try to test fit it. If the bolt didn't line up with the hole, then I'd use a file and just elongate the hole a little bit so that it'd fit up nicely. So I've just got one by one, worked my way up towards the snorkel. So at this stage I've got them all fitted up. So this is just a mock-up at the moment still. Still got the tape and everything underneath. I'm going to remove that later on and going to paint over the holes and just clean them up so I don't get any rust. And as you can see there, you can see the washers and nuts are holding that snorkel together. So at this stage what I'm going to do is I'll fit this back up to the vehicle. Just loosely fit it up, not going to put any bolts in or anything like that. And then we'll try to bend this top part of the snorkel to match the front pillar of the windscreen. Alright, so it's time for a bit of an update. So what I've been doing is I've installed this bracket now. So what I did initially was I used the heat gun to bend the snorkel into place a little bit. So then I've attached this bracket to the snorkel and then just marked it out on some masking tape. So I've done that. I drilled the holes and pop rubbered it. So now I've got my bracket there. Onto the panel itself. So as you can see here, I've just gone spray painted the back. So what I initially did was I got a file and I just cleaned up all the burrs on the holes, and I've just given a bit of spray paint from the back of the panel so that we don't get any rust occurring from the front. We still have all the masking tape, so it's not going to ruin any of the paint. Once that's dry, we're able to rip all the masking tape off, do the final fit of the snorkel, and then basically we're putting everything back together again. And then it's just a matter of the plumbing. Okay, so I've now mounted all the hardware back for the snorkel into the back of the fender. That's all permanently fitted now. So I've also added this 67mm flexible air duct, which I've just attached to the bottom of the snorkel. Put that in now, and then that way I just have to feed it into the car and I don't have to worry about mucking around with anything under the fender. When we go in here, when we come to the actual ducting itself, we just have to remove the factory airbox. I've already gone ahead and removed all the bolts, so that's come out pretty easy. And now we can just feed our ducting through there and attach it to our airbox. Alright, I've now completed the snorkel install, so I'll give you a bit of a tour of what I've done. So this is the snorkel fitting on the vehicle itself. As you can see, it looks like a pretty good fit from the top. This is just underneath. Now I haven't put a head on this yet. If you want to be really hectic, you get your pod filter and chuck that bad boy on there. But what I'm going to do is get you a little snorkel head, and there you go. So when we come to the plumbing, so from the airbox itself, I've just got a silicone hose there. It's a 63 to 76 millimeter adapter, which I've then put on a 76 millimeter piece of intercooler piping. That then connects onto our flexible hose, which then runs into the fender and up into the snorkel. So that's the plumbing side of it. That's pretty easy doing. So I apologise if I've sort of skipped on maybe a few of the details and the actual install. It was my first time trying to figure it all out myself as well. So I hope that it's been of some benefit for you guys. I'm not going to leave this video like this. We've definitely got to go test it out. So next shot, we'll be out and about and try and get this thing in the water. So as you've seen, the snorkel worked beautifully through the river crossings there. So we just went up through Walhalla there, down Cooper's Creek, Bruns Bridge, tried the crossings out there, and she worked well. Snorkel held up and good for some river crossings, and she'll get me a lot further through the bush now. Thanks for watching this episode, everyone. I'll catch you next time.